Today I'm going to be talking about what I want to see in Season 8. Some are realistic asks, some are perhaps more in the realm of my own imagination, but really it's just where I want to see the game progress, some things I want to see, and just I guess I want to share my experience with the game. And I don't know, maybe we can create a bit of a conversation down below in the comments too. Let me know what 3 features you'd love most to see in Season 8. Pick one, very simple, like a new weapon, one that you really want to wish for, but you know it's probably not going to happen, like maybe like a prestige system, and then one more change that is perhaps for your favorite item or legend. How about that? That's an interesting thing to start a bit of conversation for today, because we are leading up to the release of Season 8 very soon. Time's gone by very fast, actually. It's kind of crazy. This video will be a little less edited than normal. I'm just going to jump in and chat with you all and see how it goes, really. Now, before I do jump into the chat, I have to say thank you to today's sponsor, Intel. Intel has teamed up with ASUS to release the ASUS ROG Zephyrus Duo 15. It's a powerful gaming laptop powered by the 10th gen Intel Core i9 processor, but it has a pretty awesome twist. It has a second display built into the laptop, and when you open it, it will lean upwards so you can always see it in your vision. It's the perfect spot for putting chat when live streaming or for when trying to multitask, something that's always been so difficult on laptops. The ASUS Zephyrus Duo 15 is a powerful machine too. Alongside the 10th gen Intel Core i9 processor, you also get the RTX 2080 Super, and you can choose between a 4K display or an ultra-fast 300Hz panel instead. Intel is definitely making strides here, but that's just the start. They're making huge strides in other tech fields too. We learned recently at CES 2021 how they're invested to be at the forefront of artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, and 5G connectivity. Learn more about Intel by finding their socials in the description, or click the link in the pinned comment and description to find the new Intel ROG Zephyrus laptops. So, with that out of the way, let's talk about my asks and wants for Season 8. I guess the first one, and perhaps the most realistic, is a new weapon. I'd really like to have a new weapon, just because I feel like, you know, new legends are fun and all, but to me, the weapon mechanics are kind of almost more important in some ways, because, you know, you're going to be playing one legend, perhaps most of your games if you main that legend, but the weapons are something that you can always actively look for each game. So if there's a weapon you really like say the Mastiff I'm really liking at the moment, then I can go and find it and use it every game. So I'd love to have a new weapon that is sort of not really just an everyday average SMG or assault rifle. I want something a little bit more unique. I'm hoping we get that hunting bow we saw in the Battle Pass video for the Season 6 Scout skin, in the Season 6 Battle Pass Scout skin. That would be very, very cool. Just something different, you know, something with new, interesting mechanics, because I feel like Apex Legends really has a lot of opportunity for new, interesting mechanics outside of the legend abilities, and they haven't really explored that avenue yet. And that kind of leads me on to the second thing I'm hoping for, and that's new gear. When Apex Legends first launched, they said each new season would have a new legend, a new weapon, and new gear. Now, we haven't really seen any new gear. We've had the Arc Star, we've had the Thermite, we've had the grenade since the start of the game, we've had Evo shields added, which are really cool, but what have we had besides that? There haven't been any new items. I mean, I guess you've had hop-ups, but what about something that, you know, like a new grenade type or some kind of item that you can use or throw? I think that could be interesting, and if done right, it would definitely kind of make a bit more interesting gameplay, I guess. Something new to invest in. And if it's really terrible, then I guess they can just get rid of it again. Or maybe just add it for an LTM. Who knows? That would be really interesting for me, because the game kind of gets a bit boring. I wouldn't say boring. The core gameplay of Apex is always fun. And that's why, you know, I love the game. But when you think of like content and things to do from like, you know, new things to do, I guess this is more from my perspective as a content creator, like what can I do when we go through those periods where there's not much content? Fun challenges are always great, but like the tools that we have to create these kind of videos is limited. So I guess that's perhaps just something selfish for me that I'd want to see in the game. Well, that kind of leads me to something else, and that is new progression systems, something to actually work towards in the game. I mean, I know you have ranked and you have the level badges and the battle pass badges, but what about something completely new? If we take a look at Warzone, for example, they have a really good progression system when it comes to their gun camos. You can just spend a lot of time grinding out kills and all that stuff to unlock different camos, and the camos are just copy and pasted on every weapon pretty much, but it provides something to do, you know? I'm not saying we need exactly gun camos, but some kind of evolving system where you can keep progressing through challenges and stuff like that to unlock a physical item in the game or a physical change, not just battle pass, you know? Maybe even just more badges could be cool. The season 1 badges are really cool, where you could get 50 wins of all legends and you'll get a really cool animated badge. There are tons of really hard badges like that. All of the badges recently have been pretty on the easy side, more leaning towards the casual player base, which is I understand, right? They understand that most people come into the play each LTM and don't really invest that much hours into the game, but I'd love that to be a super high level thing to progress towards for someone like me who's not good enough to grind to become Apex Predator, but I still want some kind of sense of, I don't know, completion, I guess, somewhere. Because I end up grinding pubs and just getting kills and, you know, try and get more 20 kill games, or grind ranked until I get to diamond, I get hard stuck again. It's like, that's kind of like my limit to what there is to progress through in the game. And I know there are a lot of people like me who are super devoted to the game, but they're not at that super high top level, right? So, I don't know. That's something I'd love to see. The fourth thing I'd like to see is a powerful legend at launch. Of course, getting a legend, that's always been the way. We haven't always had a weapon, but we've always had a legend. And unfortunately, most of the time we've had a legend that's released pretty weak, and that legend's taken multiple seasons to be able to get to a point where they're actually good enough to play, or play competitively, and that kind of sucks, you know? So I'm hoping they have another release kind of like Horizon, where they release powerful and they're not too scared to release a legend too powerful. I think they seem to be aiming towards that. There have been a few comments by developers recently that suggest they're definitely going to push out legends more powerful and then nerf them and reel them back, instead of releasing watered down legends because they're scared to shake up the meta too much. Because at the end of the day, shaking up the meta is not too bad, and they were brave enough to release Disruptor rounds back in Season 2, so releasing a legend that could have a lot of power, even if just for a few days it's overpowered, or even a week, they can always tone it down. If they release a legend that has a kit that's just fundamentally not competitive, it becomes really hard to buff it enough to the point where they're actually gonna be competitive, you know? So it'd be really nice to see more legends kind of compete against Gibraltar and Wraith at the top end, you know? That'd be really, really, really fun to see. Next thing I'd like to see is new game modes, or I suppose more LTM game modes, not just recycled modes. I know that they said that, you know, it takes a lot of work to make LTMs, and they haven't really seen much engagement. But if they do what they did this time, where they add the LTM as a takeover event, so it takes over the main event, then that means they can be more creative with it, right? And another thing is, I know this is probably going to be hard for matchmaking, but just more game modes in general could be a lot of fun. Now, one game mode I've always dreamt of, and this is probably just dreaming way too hard, but that is kind of because of a good reason. We had the Season 5 lore event, right? The lore quest, all that stuff. We had Titanfall 2, which had PvE campaign and PvE wave defense in Frontier Assault, but we haven't had any real PvE in Apex Legends. We've just fought against Prowlers. They have the technology to do it within their engine. They've done it in Titanfall. They've had multiplayer PvE. The whole multiplayer game of Titanfall was a blend of PvE and PvP, so I'm just shocked that we haven't seen more PvE elements in the game. I would love to have some kind of PvE game mode, more PvE missions, and they could throw in a bunch of lore as well. I know it's a lot of hard work, but it would be so really awesome. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I'm dreaming. They aren't as big of a team as other development studios, so I know it's not easy for them to do, and they kind of have to balance out their resources where they go for this kind of game design stuff. So yeah, this is probably in the realms of my own imagination, but if this did come, I would be so hyped. Next, this one's kind of a small one, but I'd love to have a good Vault skin, a reactive Vault skin in the Battle Pass would be awesome. The Vault is probably one of the most used weapons in the game right now, and it hasn't really had any good skins yet. So that's just a small selfish ask from me. I would love that, so let's hope for that. That would be great. And finally, I'd love a better firing range, like a system where you can just invite random people or choose an option to queue up with a random person, and then you get into the firing range and you can 1v1 them, right? I mean, you already are basically in the firing range with other players. They're just turned off and invisible. Sometimes there's a glitch where you actually join into the firing range with this random that you're secretly with. Why can't we just have an option to sort of fill into the firing range so that we can have 1v1s? It shouldn't take too much effort on the coding side of things. At least I don't think. It wouldn't be like creating an entirely new 1v1 mode, although that would be very cool. But let's try and keep it in like realms of possibility at least. So that would be awesome. I'd love to see that. So that's my 8 things. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, thanks to Intel for sponsoring. I'll see you all in the comments. Cheerio!